United States, how the United States became the world's greatest power. First of all, please subscribe to the channel, share with someone who loves history, and if you want to support my work, use the link below. Now close your eyes and imagine this scene, a vast, cold, silent land, with endless forests and 13 small colonies trying to survive. This was the territory that would later become the United States. Support my work by buying something through my link, or support me by sharing, writing, and liking. In the 17th century, no one would have imagined that this distant place, inhabited by poor settlers, would become the economic heart of the planet. But there existed two forces that would change the course of history: abundant land and economic freedom. While the world lived under rigid kingdoms, castes, and aristocracies, the colonists believed that anyone with hard work and courage could thrive. This simple, almost innocent thought would become the famous American dream, the flame that would fuel all the growth that followed. When the colonists revolted against England in 1776, they were not just fighting for independence, but for a model of a country that the world had never seen, a nation founded by merchants, farmers, and thinkers, not by kings. They bet on innovation, entrepreneurship, individual liberties, and private property, seeds that would transform those fragile colonies into an industrial power. Few people know, but as early as the 19th century, the United States created a modern patent system, ensuring that inventors were rewarded for their ideas. This triggered an explosion of creativity: the telegraph, the light bulb, the combustion engine, the safety elevator emerged. In just a few decades, that land of wood and mud became a laboratory of inventions. Support my work by buying something through my link, or support me by sharing, writing, and liking. And as railroads tore across the country from end to end, millions of immigrants arrived from Europe bringing skills, cultures, and dreams. Each person who stepped foot there fueled an expanding economic machine. What many do not know is that in 1890, long before modern wars, the United States was already the largest industrial economy in the world. The dominance did not begin in the 20th century. It was merely the consequence of 80 years of innovation, labor, and vision. But it was during the World Wars that American power solidified. Support my work by buying something through my link, or support me by sharing, writing, and liking. While Europe and Asia were being destroyed, American factories operated day and night producing machines, weapons, food, and technology. When World War II ended, the planet was in ruins, except for the United States. They had the largest industry, the largest naval fleet, the strongest currency, and the weapon that would change geopolitics forever: the atomic bomb. In 1944, during the Bretton Woods Conference, the world made a historic decision. All currencies would be based on the dollar. The dollar, in turn, would be backed by gold. This transformed the United States into the financial center of the planet. And here's a little-known fact. British economist John Maynard Keynes tried to create a global digital currency called Bancor, but the United States refused. They wanted to ensure that the dollar would be the global standard, and they succeeded. With the Cold War, the country invested trillions in science and technology. This is how satellites, modern computing, supersonic planes, rockets, and the internet, created in a military lab called ARPANET, were born. This technological leap paved the way for the Silicon Valley boom, giving rise to giants like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and many others that changed all our lives, even thousands of miles away. But the power of the United States is not limited to the economy. It also lives in the screens of Hollywood, in music, fashion, fast food, social media, and everything that shapes behavior, style, and global culture. A teenager in Brazil, Korea, or Egypt consumes American culture every day, and this is a silent but immense force. Today, the United States remains at the top because it dominates technology, innovation, education, and possesses a network of military and diplomatic alliances that extends across the globe. It is the only country with a continuous military presence in more than 70 countries, something that guarantees influence and protects its economic interests. Thus, from small wooden villages to luminous cities that never sleep, the United States built its leadership not by luck, but by a combination of strategic vision, openness to the world, constant innovation, and a cultural power that spans oceans. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like, share, comment below, and tell me what story you want me to tell next. China? England? The rise of the dollar? The future of global power? Just ask. Share, subscribe, leave a like.